Good afternoon. Today is December 10th, 2025. Firmly in December now, a couple weeks away from Christmas. Guys, my name is Paul Smith. You're tuning into the 12 at 12. And we're going to knock out our normal photo shoot that we do here. So here we go real quick.
Blue steel, that's it.
Alrighty, got that out the way. Now now we got all the thumbnails we need for the YouTube and the Instagram and the LinkedIn. Guys, how's everybody doing out there, man? I think Christmas is right around the corner. I know a lot of the world is, or at least a lot of the US has been some sort of a polar vortex or whatnot. Of course, in Texas, it's been a little chilly, but for us, once it drops below 50, everybody needs to put on a hoodie anyway. So all good. What are we going to talk about today? Well, we're going to talk about a bunch of things happening in the market. Highway 130 is being upgraded, which kind of plays into more about the things that are happening in Southeast Austin. I want to talk to you guys about a conversation I had with a client that was discussing the market, and they mentioned something. It's like, I don't want to catch a falling knife, which is a very interesting. Man, what's up? We got Lord Finesse in the house, man. Dude. Lord Finesse, looked like you guys had a good time out at Basel, by the way, for Bass's barbecue. So that looked dope. My conversation and the phrase that was said is, I don't want to catch a falling knife. And that's it. That's an interesting statement if you think about that, right? They don't want to purchase something, and then all of a sudden the market drops, the price drops, and they're stuck holding the bag, right? They're stuck holding a falling knife. In my conversation and my thought on that is one of two things. One, if you're concerned about that, one thing that you can do is you can sign a lease now and potentially write in something within your lease that says that you want to be able to get out of that lease. And typically for that, you'll have to pay something for that. Guys, I am not an attorney. I don't even play one on TV. So consult your attorney before you do this. However, if it was me, this is what I would do. If I was concerned about catching a falling knife, I would sign a lease for 1 or 2 years. And be able to have some sort of a kick out on that lease, so I can pay the seller or the owner something to get out of that lease and be able to walk away from it. Assuming while that's happening, I'm looking for the right deal to purchase over the next year to 2 years. That helps insulate me for the kind of falling knife syndrome and gives you a little bit of freedom. Do I think that purchasing in Austin right now, you're in fear of catching a falling knife? I don't. I think that the falling knife event has already happened. I think that we're going to enter into a time of some level of appreciation. I don't think it's going to be huge comparatively to, let's say, if we're looking back over the past 5 years, years 1, 2, and 2.5, crazy appreciation. Years 2.5 to 5. That's falling knife, right? And that knife, I believe, has hit the floor. I don't believe that it'll be falling anymore. And that's evidenced by the current market. Guys, I'll let you know right now, my last 5 listings have gone multiple offers. And that's because of a pricing strategy that is aggressive. It's one we're understanding where the market is, and also being able to talk to my clients and letting them know they bought at the right at the right height of the market, where they're able to exit and make money. And now they're able to go purchase or redeploy that capital. In real estate, you always make money when you purchase. That is ultimately, that is when that's when the event happens where you're going to make that money. Now, you can buy something wrong and end up not making money, or you can buy something right. Now, kind of within there, market's market. And like I said, over the past 5 years, it's definitely gone up. It's definitely gone down. However, I don't think that we're going to see a continued 5% depreciation. I don't think that we're going to see a continued 10% depreciation. If you look at from 2022 to 2023, that's exactly what we had. 2023 to 2024, another similar heavy depreciation. But from 2024 to 2025, it's been pretty flat. So again, I think, are you in danger of catching a falling knife? I mean, shit. Could happen. Am I putting my money in deploying capital right now, assuming that you wouldn't? I'm personally buying. So again, that's that's up to you. But that was just, like I said, it was an interesting conversation that I had Let's see. Selma says, you buy wrong and hold on. With enough time, you still don't lose. I think that's, a lot of times in real estate, time heals all wounds, right? You can purchase something, maybe not maximizing your profit as much as you could have, depending on what you bought. But over time, historically, Austin real estate does go up. Historically, over time, Austin real estate doubles every 10 years. So, going with historic data, the thought is if you hold it long enough, yes, you will be able to exit. Problem with that though is that if you do purchase it, maybe not the way that you should, you as a seller or you as a homeowner have a tough decision to make, right? Is this something, is this property going to serve me over the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years? Or is there a better way to use that capital, knowing what I know now? Maybe I can go and take those funds. Maybe I leave a little bit on the table as far as a loss goes from when I purchased. However, I'm going to be able to 2x that money over the next 2 years, knowing where the market is and knowing the opportunities now. And so a lot of that is, guys, we got to think about one, time value of money. So if those funds are just sitting in a property that's not necessarily appreciating at a large clip, and really at this point, it's not even appreciating. It's just trying to get back to where you're even, right? That's going to take some time. Or do you take a step back and say, okay, is this really the investment that I should have made? Or are there better ones to make? Man, shout out. We got Jeffrey McCulloch in the house. Jeffrey just retired from professional football and is now having a lot of conversations like this. Man, if anybody's looking to invest, specifically in the wealth space, dude, hit Jeffrey up, man. Jeff, hope you've been well. I know you were sick, but looking forward to connect at some point. I would think, for me, I look at all my investments at about one time a year on my longer hold stuff and say, is there something better to hold? And if so, why am I holding on to this? Right? Am I holding on to this because of ego? Am I holding on to this property because I'm not willing to take a loss on it? Maybe there might be a time where it's a good time to take a loss, especially if you've had a lot of gains in other areas, right? So you can take losses to offset taxes potentially. And those are just conversations that you'd want to have, either with your financial advisor or with your agent. So like, look, are there better opportunities out there? Because I have clients that definitely bought wrong at the height, and they're like, well, I don't want to lose this amount of money. And I understand that. That's obviously you're losing money. So it's real easy to jump in that scarcity mindset of I'm losing money. But what are you costing yourself by not taking that money and going and redeploying it? Right? That's the time value of money at that point. And understanding, look, we've all made some mistakes in purchasing. We don't know what markets are going to do. And again, like I said, markets are going to market. It is what it is. But where you're at now, it's a matter of just sitting down and having that conversation of, are my investments doing what they should be doing for me, or are there better out there to make? Guess what? Those might not be in Austin. There's certainly other markets and emerging markets that have significantly more cash flow. If that's what your business model is looking for passive income versus either one active income or appreciation. Guys, again, this is Paul Smith tuning into the 12 at 12. Today is December 10th. A lot of fun stuff coming up this weekend. We got Frosty Gives Back. Those that don't know, Mike Frost is a very good friend of mine, ex-business partner. He started in year one, he started a event called Frosty Gives Back. And over that time, we have helped raise over $500,000 for charity. And so shout out, link is in the bio. It's a great event and Mike has done a good job with it. So shout out to Mike for one, being somebody that actually does what they say they're going to do and then sticking to it, right? You've got the ability to have, a lot of people have great ideas. Not a lot of people have the wherewithal and the discipline to execute those ideas. And Frosty Gives Back, in my mind, is one of those scenarios where it'll be interesting to see another 10 years from now if we're like, wow, Mike just raised $1 million for LifeWorks and trying to end youth homelessness. Something tells me it's going that way, and I'm stoked for Mike to continue to do that. What else we got going on? Oh, doing an event, a pop-up event at the Pershing on Monday. Surprise. with a good friend of mine, Maurice Brown. He goes by Mo Betta. Mo is a phenomenal trumpet player, jazz musician, and we're doing a pop-up at the Pershing on Monday, free event, hosted by myself and the Pershing folks. So looking forward to everybody jumping on there. If you guys want to come, hit me up. Maybe we got Galad in the house. Galad, thanks for jumping in here, dude. Hope you've been well. Happy holidays to you and the fam. Is we're going to start a new segment called Hey Chat, right? So we're going to hit up ChatGPT and ask what ChatGPT thinks that we should talk about, and then from there, just kind of riff on it, right, at the end of the day. So let's see. Say, hey Chat, what are the 3 most relevant things that we should talk about right now in the real estate world? Yeah, and interesting. So it's got so Chat basically just kicked back and saying that one of the most important things that we should be talking about right now in the Austin real estate market is the extension of the light rail line, right? So I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Austin, adopted light rail, taking you from downtown all the way to Leander, with stops kind of along the way. I would say, God, well over 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago at this point. When you get to my age, things just go by a lot quicker and you kind of forget, the difference between the two. I'll tell you what, man, you just can't. It's like having your kid walk in on a Zoom call. All good. Like, come on, guys, what we doing in here, right? Shit. It's a think about this. There are different spots along that light rail stop where real estate definitely appreciated quicker than other parts of Austin. The same thing is happening now. We can see where the proposed light rail stops are. We already know where they are. Now, where are some opportunities along that light rail stop? Because it's going to go from downtown. It's going to go south of the river over by where they have the rowing center at now. It's going to go south of the river. It's going to take Riverside all the way out to the airport. It's going to be great because now you're going to be able to jump into the airport and you're going to be able to fly in and take a light rail into downtown. That's awesome, right? And so there's a couple additional thoughts on that, but there's several spots along the way where you can get great value on real estate right now that I think over the next 1 to 5 years will appreciate substantially quicker than other parts of Austin if you're just going to take a dart and kind of just like throw it at the map and just hope and pray. If you guys are thinking about investment real estate and your agents aren't bringing things up like this, get a new agent. Just is what it is. Like, don't, if you want to be an investor, make sure that you are getting game that is like, why should I buy in this area versus this area? And if it's just, it's in Austin and it's got good cash flow, to me, that's not a good enough reason to buy an investment property. Again, we like to think of what's happening around those investment properties, those kind of extenuating circumstances that will make your piece of real estate appreciate faster than other pieces of real estate. Otherwise, again, you could just throw a dart at the map and works out if it works out. That's one of my thoughts. And if you guys have been tracking, there's also the ASA rail, which is the Austin San Antonio rail. That is going to be going from obviously San Antonio all the way up to Austin, up through to Georgetown. And there's going to be 2 areas where you can basically get off of the ASA rail and walk to the light rail, which is in Austin. One is going to be downtown and the other is going to be in the Domain area. So there's going to be the ASA rail will be jumping on existing rail already, which makes it a lot easier to make it happen. And so again, if there's those 2 areas, right, it's going to be servicing the 2 most dense areas in Austin for jobs. It's going to be one downtown, 2 the Domain. And that really just kind of gives you an idea of what's happening in the Domain in what's called the larger kind of development, which is the North Burnet Gateway. 10 years from now, you're going to see 40-story buildings in that area. So think about it. If you have a Frost Bank Tower level building next to Q2, people can't even fathom that right now, but that's what's coming. Think about the different areas that were, say the East Side 20 years ago or 78704 30 years ago, when South Congress wasn't South Congress, right? Before it changed, before it gentrified. East Side, same thing. Now, where are the areas that's going to happen over in North Burnet Gateway, kind of off of Metric, Palmer Lane, Breaker in that area, Rutland. And I think this is going to be a while, but if you're something where you're like, hey, look, I'm young and I'm going to take some time, I would definitely look at putting some money over off of Lamar and Brunberg. Be a great rental right now, but all that stuff is zoned SF3 with larger lots. So I think that's something where if you want a land bank, it is something where if I was younger and I was looking to buy something and I was going to live in it for a couple of years, that might be something I would consider doing, especially if I worked at the Domain or if I worked in North Austin, north of the river. Because again, if you're able to buy something and as real estate develops and as the land becomes more valuable, you'll start to see neighborhoods go from purchase and rent to purchase, fix up and rent, purchase, fix up, flip, sell, right? All of a sudden that neighborhood is turned from a renter's neighborhood into a owner occupied neighborhood. Typically when that happens is where you'll start to see hockey stick appreciation at that point. And so then from there, you go from purchase, flip, sell to purchase, demo, develop. And that's typically the life cycle of a neighborhood as far as gentrification goes. And I would say that it's going to be a while on the Lamar kind of Runberg Rutland area, but you can pick up lots in that area now sub 200,000. It's something that'll lease out for 1,800, but knowing that you're going to be able to put 3 units on it at some point down the road, those lots are also a lot bigger. They tend to be like, I think 8,000 to 10,000 square feet. And given the city of Austin new development rules, now you can put 3 units, and that'll mean that you can go 3, let's say 2,000 square foot units or bigger. And that's a way that you're going to maximize those dollars at that point. Think about all those people that you talk about. They're like, wow, I bought on the East Side 20 years ago. And they're like, oh, what'd you buy it for? And you're like, 50 grand. You're like, what? Think about that appreciation. That's a 10X at that point, by the way. 50,000 to now, let's say that lot's 500,000. That could potentially be something that we'd be looking at that point. The neat thing with that is if you buy the dirt properly, after you own it a year, you could actually then take the equity in the dirt and roll that into the construction loan and not have to put any more money into the development. So if you bought let's say you bought a $200,000 property with 10% down, say it was, you put 20 grand down, let's say it was worth 250. You found yourself a great deal, work with a good agent, and now you got something that you're picking up 50,000 in equity right off the gate. Well, if you've got that property and let's say over the course of the next 2 years, it appreciates, you will now be able to use the equity that you have in that property as the down payment for your construction note. So now you'll be able to do a demo and new construction utilizing that 20,000 that you put down. Again, this is where it comes to like time in real estate definitely heals all. Time in real estate also, when you start to understand how banking works and everything else works, is a way for you to really maximize your investment with putting minimal money down. And dude, I know several clients. I have several clients that are civil engineers, or they are just folks that are doing whatever jobs that they're normally doing. Developers, software developers, civil engineers, and they are making more money developing 4 homes a year. Let's say they're making on average 150 to 250,000 per development. So they're making 600 to $1 million a year passively while doing their job as a software designer or doing as a civil engineer. And a lot of that is because they bought the land right, and then they're able to go ahead and roll that into a construction loan without having to put any more money down. A lot of that comes up with great banking relationships and having good builder relationships and everything that goes along with that. But yeah, I think that realistically, you probably, if you've got the right team, you can maybe spend 40 to 60 hours per property as a developer if you've got the right builder and the right team behind you. And if you're able to make 150 to 200,000 off of that, that's a great dollar per hour. That's assuming you have the relationships and assuming you have some of the funds to put down. And that's really where also understanding how setting up your taxes and filing your taxes properly. So that way there, you can have the taxes and the liquidity to do that development. Guys, again, this is Paul Smith tuning into the 12 at 12. We got a couple minutes left, but what do y'all want to talk about today? ChatGPT put us down the path of of light rail, and we ended up north. So it's funny how sometimes you jump on a rail line and you start to pop around. And I think the other area that I would look at is Montopolis with that light rail stop. That Montopolis Riverside area is going to blow up. A lot of land over there, and it's definitely has some time for that to happen. What else do we got here from the old ChatGPT? Oh, employers of new.
Someone asked, what's the best way for someone new to developing learn the biz?
What's the best way for someone new to developing to learn the biz? A lot of that's unfortunate. A lot of it's trial and error in a lot of ways, right? Or connecting with a group of people or somebody that's been doing this. But even then, like, there's going to be mistakes that are made. I think the main thing, though, is connecting with people so that way there you can try to hedge as much as you can against those mistakes, because a small mistake in real estate can be a large mistake in real life, right? Because real estate is real life. However, a small mistake can end up costing you $50,000, $100,000. I've got a friend and client. His mistake wasn't small; ended up costing about $1.5 million. I've got another friend made a mistake. Ended up costing about $8 million, right? So, your level of small is your level, and their level is theirs, right? So perception is reality at the end of the day. But it's some pretty big hits at that point. So I would definitely say make sure that you're taking your time and understanding kind of what you're getting into. I think is important. Let's see. Austin Business Journal says more homes will hit the market in 2026. Here's the pricing outlook. Let's see. Existing home sales will jump 14%. That's great. As I think if based on 2025, I think that existing home sales were actually pretty good. If you look at it, we're at that like 2019 kind of number of units. It's an interesting time because I don't think that we're in a market that's necessarily going up. I don't think it's necessarily a market of going down. I just feel like it's a market that's stuck. You've got like a lot of attrition right now, almost at the line of scrimmage with buyers and sellers. Is you've got sellers that are clinging on to low rates, interest rates, and you've got buyers that would hope that there was a flood of inventory in the market. But these sellers that would sell if they had better rates, they're just sitting on them because they don't want to lose it. I've had multiple conversations with people where they would buy if the house that they wanted to buy either would come down in price, but even then, if it's the same price as what they bought, but their rate is different, now all of a sudden they're at their payments jumping up fairly considerably for the same size home just because of the rate. And what sucks about that is that's just money to the bank. That's not money that's paying down principal. Really, that is just additional interest that somebody is paying to the bank at that point, which sometimes that can really make it rough. Obviously, you're going to be able to write off some of that interest, stuff like that, but that's a tough one. Let's see. ABJ and NAR's thinking that prices are going to go up 4%. Based on the last 3 years, I'll take a 4% bump. And again, I think once you start to have that not catching a falling knife syndrome, or that, kind of phobia of not catching a falling knife, I think people will be ready and willing to jump back in the market. Because I do think that long-term people believe in specifically Austin real estate and the things that are happening within that area. Let's see. Zillow is saying that they're expecting prices to come up 1.9%. We'll see how that goes. Guys, again, this is Paul Smith checking in with the 30 at 30. God, I keep saying 30 at 30. Damn it. The 12 at 12. This is not the 30 at 30. Guys, this is Paul Smith. Thanks for tuning in to the 12 at 12. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to hit me up. Y'all be good.